the whole rule about peel back blocks. Peel back. I'm Jim. I have to start this over. Welcome to another edition of Field Vision, brought to you by War Room Sports in conjunction with Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts, Devin McMillan, and I'm here with my partners, Jimmy Williams of War Room Sports.
Rest in peace to S.D. Jones.
Jim Ricalto of Sports Kings.
Also Soft University.
And B. Austin, War Room Sports.
Shout out to Red Grange, and I am the Black Wayne Brady.
All right, fellas. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the new rules. The competition committee of the NFL got together, eliminated a couple of rules, made some new rules. And the first one we want to talk about now is the peel back blocks, which has been made illegal. We all know about the Brian Cushing injury from last year, so the NFL competition committee has addressed it. For those out there who don't know, a peel back block is when an offensive player contacts a defender who's moving parallel or backwards towards the end line, i.e. the end zone, like in the Brian Cushing situation. B. Austin, what do you think about this rule? Like, do you think it was something that needed to be addressed? Because one person got, notoriously cracked.
As you look at me hold my head in my hands as if I'm mourning something, that's the case. The death of the game that we love. It's headed towards life support, folks. This is crazy, man. One injury should not lead to a rules change, but they're so petrified with the 1,400 lawsuits, the lawsuits that are forthcoming. They're just changing. They're looking for anything that looks like a violent collision to change, and it's a violent play. It can be a very violent play. It can lead to injury and harm, but so can stepping off the curb into traffic as you cross. I'm distraught, man. Like, you're taking the crack. You're essentially taking the crack back away, and we all know.
I wouldn't say that it was just one injury, though. I mean, in a lot of cases, more people have been injured, but when somebody more popular gets injured, or if it was something that may have been seen on national TV, then it has to be addressed. Jim, what do you think about the peel back?
Well, I'm not sure why this block wasn't already under the flag of chop blocking. That's what it looked like. I mean, if you're going to distinguish going below the knees for a block, it shouldn't matter where anyone's standing. That should just be the rule in general. But at the same time, what if Slauson, or whatever his name was, had made a normal block that wasn't at the knees and just completely laid out Cushing from the top? Right. Then would that have been cause to look at this rule and then make it a whole new big thing? So was it just this play that brought this rule about? I don't know. But since there was already a rule in place for chop blocking itself, that's essentially what a peel back block is, except you're going the opposite direction and take a guy out from behind or whatever. So why wasn't that rule already in place under the flag of chop blocking? Now it's a whole big deal because one guy got hurt. But what if he made a legal block on that play? Would everybody have been up in arms and brought this about?
I guarantee you the flag gets thrown on legal plays this season coming up.
I mean, all I want to say is this, man. Speaking of star players getting injured and rules changing, I want to say shout out to Terrell Owens and the horse collar. But at the end of the day, the goal is to try to make the game safer. Austin, I understand, your dismay. But let's be honest, the game of football, the way we grew up loving it, is going to change over the next couple of years. I mean, they might as well just bring the flags out or start playing 1, 2, 3 hold. Shout out to my man Lee Steinberg, who wrote the piece, The Death of the NFL, because it's on its way. I mean, all these rule changes we're going to talk about primarily this evening is in terms of safety of the players. I mean, it's a violent game, and as the game gets older and we realize what happens to these players once they're done playing, rules are going to continue to get changed, so rest in peace football, but it is what it is.
Yo, bring back roller derby, yo.
Yeah. Well, like I said, everything is being done in the name of safety. I can't really say that the NFL had too much concern with being overly safe until, of course, the lawsuits came into play. But as a
Money
business person
talks.
myself, I understand that. Like Jimmy just said, money does talk. We had a few things on special teams. More than 6 players on the defensive side of the ball cannot be aligned on one side of the center while trying to block a punt or a kick. So this kind of prevents overloading of a certain side. I can see that being a safety issue as well. Jim, what do you think about that one?
I think that's just idiotic. Because field goals are already hard to block. Field goals are already hard to block, so it's an advantage to be able to try to block a kick that way. Now you're taking it away from a defense. They're trying to block a kick to preserve a win, and now they just make it harder. I don't remember the last time somebody got seriously hurt on a field goal attempt. So
yeah,
I think they just they're going a little bit overboard here. Like, just relax,
If you can't overload to block a punt or a kick, then I don't know.
You're never going to block one.
I was about to say, I don't know if this is a good analogy, but should they eliminate the onside kick when everybody goes to one side and everybody just collides into each other?
Eliminate the overload blitz on defense in general so you don't hurt the quarterback. Like, it's a field goal.
Hey, that's coming. That's coming. Wait the next season for that.
I'm talking about onside kicks, but I'm forgetting that they did try to eliminate the kickoff last year, so it might be coming. So. If you can't kick off, you can't onside kick.
I think that rule is just ridiculous. I don't see any bearing or reason for it.
You guys are laughing, but how soon before blitzing is illegal?
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Three seasons. They're looking at the Pro Bowl model where you're not allowed to blitz, and they're gonna move that into.
And by the way, man,
or you might have to count like 3 Mississippi before you rush the quarterback.
3 Mississippi.
How about that? Let's
One
play
Mississippi.
at least 7 Mississippi for like long routes or what have you. All I'm saying is this, man. I know there's not a lot of field goals blocked as is, but Finch didn't need to overload the side to block field goals and Wildcat, so therefore you shouldn't need to, man. Shout out to Goldie Hawn. But yeah, Finch was the truth.
All right.
What other rules we got, Dev?
Also on special teams, a player trying to block a punt or a field goal must have their entire body outside of the long snapper's shoulder pads. Now, this rule is to protect the long snapper. This one, personally, I don't know how you guys feel. This one I'm not that bothered with because if you think about it, the long snapper, he is in kind of a precarious position because you got to you got to do all of that. You got to snap the ball with all kinds of force, and then they expect you to bring your head up in enough time to block the guy who's bearing down on you as soon as you twitch.
Yeah, usually you bring your head up in time to get effed up.
Yo, my question is this, though. How did they even talk about changing this rule? Like, was there a group of long snappers that got together and went to the league and said, listen, we got to do something about this?
Probably because, look, they're probably like, look, I'm getting drilled in my neck and my back before I even get a chance to come up.
My neck.
Now,
my back.
It's different snapping at 15 yards versus just a shotgun snap. Because a shotgun snap, you can pick your head up first and then snap it. But yeah, I'm not mad at this one. B. Austin, I know you're mad at the game. What do you think about this?
Yo, everything that we're going to talk about, my position is it's gay.
So you're saying every
rule. Yo, he knew what he was signing up for, man.
The long snapper knew what he was saying.
The long snapper, though? Everybody's going to sign a waiver. Like, listen, I'm playing football. If I die, I die.
If he dies.
Clause.
Yo, my man Shark LeVay put it all on the line, yo.
He needed that check. Jimmy, what do you think about the long snapper rule?
Yo, I honestly, I don't even understand the rule. And when I read it online, I really didn't understand it. And I told you, my first question was, how did this even come about? Like, did the long snappers have like their
There is a union. There is a union of long snappers.
I mean, it's basically just saying that you can't line up directly over the long snapper.
And another thing about this, last point I'll make about this rule is that I just know how coaches think, and they're looking at these new rules and finding ways to get around them as we speak. That that they're in there trying to cook up something like how can we hurt the long snapper outside of this? It's a cat and mouse game with the NFL, but I mean, again, a safety issue. This is what this is all about. It's about player safety. The game is changing.
We joke, but long snappers are very important because when one gets hurt, the team is scrambling around trying to find somebody else.
Oh, this is true.
Who can do the skill that we don't realize is that
bad. And whoever the backup long snapper is usually only gets about 2 practice snaps a season.
Jim, what do you think about the long snapper rule?
Well, we keep saying player safety. I think this is more like when they're facing a jury, they have rules in place to say, hey, look, this is a safe game. But it's neither here nor there with more lawsuits impending in the coming years. But, yeah, I don't mind this rule either. They're in a vulnerable spot. But then again, it's a punt. Like, I don't remember the last time anyone got hurt on a punt or a field goal. So what?
See, but that's the thing. We don't see him getting carted off, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't. Bruises. I guess like it sucks getting your ass kicked, but it's football. So I don't know why there's
millions and millions of money.
Yo, I can see him being a long snapper like, yo, man, like.
Do they have a group of people that get together and just like, all right, what rule can we make up next? Yeah. And it keeps getting more asinine on the most trivial of things like field goals and punts.
Like you said, it may not be actual player safety, but it's the appearance of them trying to do something. So they can say, listen, we're trying to do something to make the game safer.
I think it is.
Exactly. So that's good.
Perception is reality. So we perception.
They can take it to court and be like, look, we have these rules in place.
We protect long snappers.
Yeah.
What about the long snapper rule?
Yeah, so they're basically trying to change a lot of things with special teams because that's when a lot of blind collisions.
Those are the guys that care the least about their.
That's why they don't care about their bodies. They're trying to do anything they can.
Austin just said they're making. He said they're making millions of dollars. No, those are the guys that aren't making millions of dollars. So those are the guys that need to be protected.
That is a good point. That's a good point.
So the last one on special teams, defensive players cannot shove or push teammates into offensive players at the line of scrimmage trying to block. Wait,
hold on.
It's going to be a 15-yard unnecessary rough.
Hold on. I would like you to read the first 7 words, or 6.
Defensive players cannot shove or push, which is the same thing, teammates into offensive players.
Stop. They can't shove and push in professional.
Play nice.
But they're saying they can't shove their own teammates into. It's almost like the rule that they created where you can't jump on a teammate's back to try to block a kick. And it's also like the one that they never enforce. There's a rule that they never enforce where, say, a running back is in a pile at the 2-yard line and the offensive lineman come from behind and shove the pile into the end zone. That's supposed to be illegal.
That's illegal.
But they never call that.
With that rule, is it illegal for a shove or a push or both? And what constitutes a shove and what constitutes a push?
I guess that's why they had
both. They covered all bases. They covered all bases.
A shove would be something more aggressive than a push.
What about a slap?
No, but seriously.
Can I pull?
I can't take this serious.
Can I pull my teammate into someone else?
So I assume I'm getting the reaction of what you guys think of this rule.
Hey, Jim, what do you think about this, Jim? We got to get your opinion.
There's a lot of my memory must be going because I don't remember the last time I saw anyone actively like drawing up a play to push their teammate into someone. Like they're in there drawing up X's and I'm going to push you this way. You grab him and push him, and we'll block the kick. Like, there's another pointless rule that doesn't have any bearing. It's just going to cause more drama. And it's probably going to lose the Steelers. It's going to lose the Steelers a game or two this year.
The shove or push rule. Oh man. I have nothing else to say.
It's got its own playbook and whatnot. Like,
I just feel sorry for these poor refs. Like, shout out to the refs because they gotta deal with all this.
Can you imagine the replacement refs? The replacement refs trying to deal with these rules. Oh my god!
So the bad part is with the refs here is that they're gonna be instructed to look for these new ones. Mm-hmm. They're gonna be overdoing it like crazy, even when it doesn't need to be called, just to enforce that hey, there's new rules.
Especially in the beginning of the season.
You pushed them. I saw you. You pushed your teammate.
All right, so the infamous tuck rule has been eliminated. I know there's a lot of happy Raiders fans out there Too bad Justin isn't here to let us know what he thinks about the tuck rule. This was a rule that I never really got in the first place, man. It always just looked like a fumble to me. B. Austin, what do you think about the tuck rule?
I'm glad that you are willing to admit that, because I guess now that I'll follow suit and admit I never knew what the rule meant. I just thought it was meant to protect Tom Brady. I mean, I thought they created it specific for Tom. You're bringing the ball forward. You stop, and if it comes out, it's not of
because it's considered a reload.
Reload. Yeah. I didn't understand it.
It definitely needed to go, but like, how do you guys think the Raiders organization feels now?
I don't think they care. We caught it in the butt.
You don't think they care?
No,
I mean,
they care.
I'm about to say, like, we got jobbed out of a Super Bowl.
If anything, it's more upsetting. Now it's gone. Yeah, if anything,
that's why I asked you.
They're more upset. They're more upset by it.
I mean, even the team, the Raiders sent out a tweet like something along the lines of a couple years too later, something like that. Yeah. So they still care, believe it or not. I actually had no problem with the tuck rule, considering it screwed the Raiders. It kind of made my day, as I dislike everything about the Raiders. But so that's all I really have to say is, I'm glad it got rid of it when they did, and allowed the rule to actually screw the Raiders. So salute to the NFL for that.
Jim, what do you think?
I never thought this rule made any sense at all. I mean, a quarterback goes to throw the ball. Either he throws it or he doesn't. It's still in his hand. It comes out. It's a fumble. I just don't get the forward motion thing. Like, you don't throw it and you drop it. It's a fumble. Like, I don't care what else is going on. Like, let's make it more interesting.
And even when they enforced it that time, it seemed like they just went to the rule book.
But the funny thing is, the funny thing is, the Steelers were the only team to vote against it being removed. Yeah. So that disappointed me a little bit. I don't get it. I don't know why.
Because they know they know Big Ben reloads quite a bit.
Yes, he does.
And he's always under duress.
Yes, he does.
That would be the team.
It does.
We might need
that. Makes sense there. It does.
All right, so this is the rule here that's been the talk of the internet. It's been the talk of the nation, and this is called the crown of the helmet hits rule. It is now a 15-yard penalty if a player who is more than 3 yards downfield or outside of the tackle box delivers a blow with the crown of his helmet. Here we like to call this rule the Kurt Coleman rule. B. Austin, you seem very distraught about what's going on here, so we'll let you tell everybody why you're so distraught.
Tell them why you mad, son.
This my feelings can only be described by an expletive, a colorful metaphor. I'll start with this. As you look at social media and you look at Twitter, there are defensive players. Shout out to my man Joe Hayden from the DMV, Prince George's County. He came on Twitter and said, I feel sorry for NFL running backs, and I'm on defense. Yo,
kind of easy to say for a cornerback. He ain't got to tackle them dudes every play.
Yeah, he doesn't. But this is ridiculous. And then an NFL executive came out, the esteemed Mr. Art Rooney, your boy, and said Jim Brown never lowered his head. It can be done, as if everybody in the NFL is the equivalent of Jim Brown. What did that have to do with the price in China?
That was kind of crazy. Everybody.
The encouragement is to run high now. Everybody run high. Don't duck. Take those hits.
I think the only team who voted against this was the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm like, RIP to Ray Rice's career. RIP to Trent Richardson's career.
Trent Richardson's career. Man, beast mode.
Now this is the thing. This is one of the rules where, in my opinion, in the pure form of football, it's silly. But it's silly just like the rules where defenders can't do this. You had people like Joe Hayden speaking out, but to tell the truth, it hasn't been a level playing field over the last few years because everything that the defenders could no longer do, offensive players could do. Offensive players can come through the hole, put their head down, and truck you with the crown of their helmet. Offensive players still can stiff arm you by grabbing your face mask. So, you know, we heard from a few people, but I'm sure there's some defenders in the league who don't mind this rule. Me as a fan, you know, I think all of the rules are taken away from the entertainment of the game, but what people have to realize is that there are 1,400 plus ex-NFL players who we all think supposedly knew what they signed up for are suing the league right now about concussion issues. And like Jimmy said earlier in the broadcast, money talks. So the league is at a point where it has to do what it has to do to preserve that money. But I'm looking at the NFL just not being the same in the next decade or so.
Knowing that and understanding where the NFL is coming from and where 1,400 players represent in dollars and cents, I completely get it, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. And that doesn't mean that I won't speak out against it because I still think it's FUBAR. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like, okay, well, you know, I understand the NFL's position. There's a multi-billion-dollar suit at their feet, and they have to, you know, do things accordingly. I understand fiscal responsibility,
but isn't being done because they actually care about the player's safety,
right?
But they care about the dollars.
You don't know that. Roger Goodell cares. And listen, though, my problem is, how are these guys supposed to just cut that off? I mean, these guys have been playing since they were kids.
Matt Forte said he got his fine money ready.
No, my thing is, how do you cut that off?
Matt Forte don't ain't truck nobody.
You just can't cut that off. And for one, this actually may work in the opposite, have the opposite effect, because if I'm a defender and I have a running back, coming towards me, and I don't have to worry about him lowering his head,
I am going to tee off on his chest. Exactly. Oh my goodness!
And
my goal now is to find a way to hit him with the point of my shoulder in his sternum and send him to the sideline.
That's my point, because the only running back I know that ran this way was like Ricky Waters, but then he, for what?
For what?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like, it's instinct as a running back. Not that I play running back, but I know from watching football that this is what they do. How do they turn that off? How do they turn that off?
This is legal still in high school and college, so you're going to have to
leverage. The lowest man wins.
You got to get to the NFL and try to change your whole style of play. Jim, what do you think about the crown of the helmet rule?
I think it's absolutely asinine from a football standpoint when you talk about on the field, because some of these guys, first off, their style is physical. You tell Marshawn Lynch not to run somebody over, he's going to laugh at you, you know. He's going to be the most flat running back in the league. But then you go back and look at defense versus offense, and I thought it was ridiculous when they put this rule on the defense. And now they're going to, because I always thought that a running back lowering his head sometimes initiated the kind of defender would get flagged for. So if they're trying to eliminate that and make it a fair playing field from that aspect, I guess it makes sense. But overall, no, I don't like it one bit, because it's a natural defense mechanism on a football field to, lower your head or try to evade contact by just bracing for contact. You lower your head when you're about to get tackled. So how are they going to enforce and distinguish and gauge who does what? I don't think it's very clear to be enforced.
I think Jimmy's right. A lot of cats are going to get blown up as a result of this.
Jim makes a very good point, though, because, and from what I've seen, I'm not going to put a percentage on it or anything, but I think most of the time when you have helmet-to-helmet contact, it is initiated by the offensive guy. That's why I was saying earlier, like, the playing field hasn't really been level for the last few years because they stopped the defenders.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and the offensive dudes just come through the hole and do what they want. So I'm not saying I like it, but I understand if you do one, you have to do the other one in the name of safety.
Listen, man, everybody's going to start sliding or just diving forward like Irving Fryer used to do. Like, that way you don't have to worry about any kind of contact or hits. And also a lot of teams they're not even going to run the ball a lot anymore. You talk about the league being a passing league, like, if If I can't lower my helmet to fight for extra yardage,
now it's just all pat. Oh, I get it now. This will stop running the ball and will turn into the Arena Football League.
There you go.
No, but really, on a serious note, the only way you're going to prevent helmet-to-helmet contacts is if you take the helmets off. Because nobody's going to put their head out there if you don't have
I vote for that. I vote for that. There you go.
You might have to go back to leather helmets.
Leatherheads.
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know.
How about some new helmets?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, as much as we do in the world, as far as science goes, I'm 100% sure that they could create
100?
some kind of
100.
I'm sure they can create a helmet.
Why don't we all run with the kazoo?
But at the same time, though, they have created some helmets, and they say some players used to wear them.
Oh,
so you probably have to mandate, these players wearing the safest possible equipment. Some people just are used to something. They like what they like, and they won't wear the safest equipment. So we can't put that all on the league. We got to, blame some of the players for that as well. But I don't know. This whole rules thing, fellas, it's
safety first.
Our game is sliding down a mountain right now. Like Jimmy said earlier, Lee Steinberg was saying in his articles, Death of the NFL, Forbes magazine, that on every play, when the offense and defensive lines, when the ball is snapped and they touch, every play is a concussive hit. We're conditioned to believe that only, concussions only occur when you're being carted off the field or you're woozy, you're dizzy. But he says every play has a concussive hit, not big enough to make you leave the game, but it all adds up. And in the future, this game is just not going to be the way that we're used to.
Yeah, probably not. But I get all the stuff that we're talking about now about week 4, nobody will care.
Yeah, just like the replacement officials,
Do you guys know Roger Goodell made $30 million last year?
I'm not as mad at Roger Goodell as everybody else is, man.
I'm not mad at that. It's a $9 billion enterprise. So what $9 billion enterprise doesn't have a CEO or a head man with a $30 million salary? I mean,
I don't think Tagliabue ever made that.
But for everything that he does that people don't like, we have to remember he's not making the decisions. He's just speaking for the owners who vote on it.
He reports.
Everybody loves their team owner, but they hate Roger Goodell.
That's why he gets $30 million because to take that hate.
Because he takes that heat.
Shout out to Dumbledore, aka Roger Goodell.
Roger God.
Dumbledore, because he makes unilateral decisions, and I appreciate it.
All right, hey, Jim, before we get out of here, man, tell everybody how they can watch Field Vision on Sports Kings and tell them where they can find everything else that Sports Kings are doing.
All right, our website's www.sports-kings.com. We have a link to this show in the football section midway through the page and at the top via Down and Distance. Also visit our 4 sister pages. They are for football, hockey, baseball, basketball. And we're definitely a rising blog in the blogosphere. Have a group of talented writers. Everything we put out is quality work, and we're glad to be branching out into radio with you guys. So give us a look if you have time.
All right.
I'll see.
Of course, War Room Sports. Just go to warroomsports.com. It's a one-stop shop. Don't be lazy. Browse the site. Click on some buttons. Find some stuff. But as far as our videos go, just make sure you subscribe to warroomsportstv.com. Make sure you watch Field Vision with War Room Sports and the Sports Kings every week. Jimmy, you got something to say? Get us out of here?
Yo, all I have to say is this, man. Make sure you support the revolution in sports media, which is War Room Sports, as well as the Sports Kings. Find us everywhere on the web, man. And if you can't find us on the web, we might be in your mom's room.
We just lost like 90 fans on that one, but it's all good. All right, everybody, this has been another edition of Field Vision. We're out of here until next week, so don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
I see you chumps on stars.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table, 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.